Hi everyone, I'm Miquel and I will introduce the book I wrote, which is The Slow Food Story, Politics and Pleasure by Geoff Andrews. And to introduce you to the topic, which is slow food, I will say that this movement began in Italy as a response to the dominance of fast food chains, supermarkets, and large-scale agribusiness, defending the universal right to pleasure, and it promotes food production and consumption based on good, clean, and fair local products. And in 20 years, Slow Food has grown into an international organization with more than 80,000 members in over 100 countries. I chose this book because the slow food really matters to me and I want to know more about the slow food because I studied that before and I really wanted to add more acknowledgement to my knowledge. And I will introduce you the points that are more important for me from the book. The first important point for me is the Slow Manifesto, which, thanks to this, slow food started to globalize, and it challenged the ethical basis of what Petrini called the fast life and was critical of those whose lives are based in fast. Petrini was the first president of Slow Food and the one who created this movement. It was the publication of this Slow Food Manifesto which exported the slow food idea beyond Italy and set in motion the beginning of a remarkable movement. When these words were translated to English and more languages, it became more global. And it marked the beginning of a movement which now has 84,000 members in over 120 countries. What we can see written in this manifesto is the message of slow food, which is use simple, fresh ingredients and be uncompromising on quality and promote the convivial atmosphere of a neighborhood in a restaurant. Slow food, like other environmental movements, is committed to sustainability, which makes it a philosophy based in gastronomy and ecology. The next point for me is one of the most important and the one I like the most on the book, and it's because it explains how fast life disrupts our habits and pervades the privacy of our homes and forces us to eat fast food. And we can see these examples of fast life when on the doctor's anterooms and the waiting rooms, and for example on the door close button of the elevator, which is a placebo with no function, but to distract for a moment those riders to whom 10 seconds seems an eternity. For normal people like us, fast is busy, controlling, aggressive, hurried, stressed, superficial, impatient, active, and quantity over quality. On the other hand, slow is the opposite. Calm, careful, receptive, intuitive, patient, reflective, and quality over quantity. And I like the fact that more money is spent in fast food than in movies, books, magazines, newspapers, videos, and records combined. And another fact that it's so not funny but interesting in the USA is that more than half of all American adults and one quarter of American children are obese, while 30,000 Americans die each year because of obesity. In this part, it critiques too the supermarkets because they are growing nowadays compared to the past recent years. And we can see in this example, for example, independent grocers and local food producers sold 1,000 in 1961 and in 1997 sold only 20,000. In addition, it explains that Carlo Petrini, the president, and other slow food leaders are not against of all the fast food. They are in favor of fast slow food like Roman street food or the tortillas made by Mexican women from local ingredients and sold on the roadsides. This critic wants us to understand that slow living is not a countercultural retreat from everyday life. It's not a return to the past and it's not a return to the old days and neither is a form to be lazy or a slow motion version of life. Slow living is a process whereby everyday life is approached with care and attention and live the present in a meaningful, thoughtful, and pleasurable way. Slow food consumers should be understood as concerned citizens sharing values like justice, health, and nature. The new topic I want to introduce is the new consumers, and it was very interesting. I will introduce you with an example. Like companies have had to respond to new pressures on safety and the environment, like supermarkets have increasingly had to justify to their customers that they have at least some commitment to the environment. This is what we call the new consumers. And then slow food has normally avoided boycotts and campaigns against the supermarkets or fast food stores, preferring to develop links with small producers and alternative forms of economic and social development. And here is when it's introduced the death of the consumer in slow food, which according to Petrini, it's too early to announce this death, but slow food concept of the co-producer has raised important issues about the meaning of contemporary consumption and the fact that the role of the consumer nowadays is so far and distant from the work of the producer needs to be redefined. The next point is about the movement itself, about slow food, because I think it's so important to highlight that an idea of Carlo Petrini, only one person has arrived so far on in all the globe, and it's so important. And I want to focus in the Ostery Guide, which is like the Michelin Guide, where a team of experts, normally are slow food employees, are sent out to judge following a strict criteria of quality based on taste and using local seasonal products and cost. These restaurants are awarded accreditation and displays the slow food snail scene in the window, but it's no guarantee that they will be entered into the following year. So it's like the Michelin Guide, and I really like this idea of making like a Michelin Guide, but on the slow food way. I personally like this next point, which is the terroir. It's an important aspect of slow food's commitment, and it's the French concept of terroir, which has been used to explain the way in which local areas have been characterized by distinctive natural conditions like the climate, vegetation, and soil, and in a specific in which ways food is cultivated and cooked. The culinary terroir is a concept that captures the spirit and the romance and language of the food and drink and recognizes the role heritage and culture play in our culinary lives. And at its simple, the glass of wine that we enjoy is a reflection of the environment that it was grown in, and it also reflects the personality of the region where it was grown in and the culture and heritage of a particular community. The next point I will introduce was totally new for me, which was CETA's law, which is a network that has helped to provide a strategy for some of the slow food initiatives, and it was started in 1999 when four Italian towns like Bra, Orvieto, Positano, and Grivinchianti drew up a list of defining criteria that each aspirant slow town will need to meet. First, they had to be less than 50,000 residents, preserve open spaces, maintaining architecture or historic buildings, commitment with cultivation and local products, and local hospitality. The desire to preserve this heritage combined with a strong community traditions was the driving force of its campaign to be a slow town. The Cita Slow network has played an important part in challenging the assumptions of fast life at a local level. And that was all. I hope you have enjoyed the points I like the most about my book. I personally like the book I chose, although I wasn't expecting that type of book because I really wanted to know more about the slow food, but this food was about the slow food politics, and I really learned more about the slow food thing more than I expected. So I'm happy to have written this. I hope you enjoy my video. Thank you to listen and view. Thank you.